Gentlemen, let me ask you something that your doctor probably hasn't asked you in years. What did you eat for breakfast this morning? What did you drink? What did you do right after you woke up? Because I want to talk to you today about something almost no man connects to his prostate health. A single daily habit that millions of men over 50 are doing right now, completely unaware that it is quietly, steadily making their prostate larger, their nights more miserable, and their mornings more frustrating than they ever need to be. And the most unsettling part? This habit feels completely harmless. It might even feel healthy. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, a urologist with 12 years of experience helping men over 60 reclaim their vitality, strength, and confidence. I've worked with thousands of men who thought their best days were behind them, men who had accepted their bathroom trips at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., and 6 a.m. as just part of getting older. They were wrong. And today I'm going to show you exactly why. Before we dive in, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one, and knowing where you gentlemen are tuning in from means the world to me. Now let's talk about what's really going on inside your body. The prostate is a walnut-sized gland that sits just below your bladder and wraps around your urethra, the tube that carries urine out of your body. When you're young, it does its job quietly. But starting around age 40 and accelerating after 50, the prostate in most men begins to grow. Medically, we call this benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. And by age 60, more than half of all men have it to some degree. By age 85, nearly 9 out of 10 men are affected. Now here is where it gets important. Prostate growth is not random. It is not purely genetic destiny. It is deeply, powerfully influenced by your hormonal environment, specifically the ratio between two hormones, testosterone and estrogen. Yes, gentlemen, estrogen. Men have estrogen too, and as testosterone declines with age, estrogen becomes relatively more dominant. And elevated estrogen, particularly a form called estradiol, is one of the most potent drivers of prostate tissue growth we know of. So what's the habit I'm warning you about? It comes in several forms, but the common thread is this: chronic daily exposure to compounds that mimic or elevate estrogen in the male body. And the number one source hiding in plain sight for most men over 50 is something deeply ordinary. It's alcohol. Specifically, daily moderate to heavy alcohol consumption. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Dr. Carter, I've read that a glass of red wine is good for the heart. And I understand that. But here's what most men don't know, and what most general practitioners forget to mention. Alcohol is a direct estrogen stimulator. When your liver processes alcohol, it impairs its ability to break down and clear estrogen from your bloodstream. The result? Estrogen accumulates. And elevated estrogen sends a direct signal to prostate tissue to grow. Think of it this way. Imagine your prostate is a balloon. Testosterone and estrogen are like two hands holding that balloon. When they're balanced, the balloon stays the same size. But when estrogen starts to dominate, because your liver is too busy processing alcohol to clear it, it's like one hand squeezing harder and harder. The balloon expands. And as it expands, it tightens around that urethra, squeezing it like a garden hose being stepped on. That's why you're waking up at 2 a.m. That's why your stream is weak. That's why you feel like you never fully empty. I had a patient, Robert, 64, retired engineer from Ohio. Fit man, walked every morning, ate reasonably well. But every evening, without fail, he had 2 or 3 beers while watching the news. He came to me frustrated, embarrassed, exhausted. He said, "Dr. Carter, I'm up 4 times a night. My wife thinks I have a problem. I think I have a problem. But every doctor just hands me a pill and sends me home." We talked about his habits. When I mentioned alcohol and estrogen, he looked at me like I'd told him the earth was flat. He cut his nightly drinking to 1 drink, then eliminated it on weekdays. 6 weeks later, he called my office. He said, "I slept through the night for the first time in 4 years." Now, alcohol is the most common driver I see, but it's not the only one. And this is where I want you to really pay attention, because number 3 on this list is the one most men get completely wrong. The second compound that secretly elevates estrogen and enlarges the prostate is something found in everyday plastics. We're talking about xenoestrogens. synthetic chemicals like BPA and phthalates that leach out of plastic containers, especially when heated. Reheating your lunch in a plastic container. Drinking water from a plastic bottle that's been sitting in a hot car. These compounds enter your bloodstream and lock onto estrogen receptors throughout your body, including in your prostate. Your body cannot distinguish between real estrogen and these chemical imposters. The prostate receives the same growth signal either way. The practical fix here is simple and inexpensive. Switch to glass or stainless steel for food and drink storage. Never microwave in plastic. If you're buying bottled water regularly, invest in a good filter and a quality stainless flask. It takes about a week to build the habit and costs almost nothing long term. I want to share another story. Marcus, 57, came to me with what he called prostate fog, his term for the constant mental awareness of his bladder that was ruining his focus at work and his enjoyment of weekends. He wasn't a heavy drinker, he was actually a health-conscious man. But he worked in a warehouse, drank from plastic bottles all day in the heat, and microwaved his lunch in takeout containers every single afternoon. Once we identified the pattern and he made the switch, his urinary symptoms improved noticeably within 2 months. Not because of any medication, because we removed a daily estrogen trigger he didn't know existed. The third driver, and this is the one I see men dismiss most readily, is chronic sleep deprivation combined with high cortisol. Gentlemen, I need you to hear this clearly. When you are chronically underslept and chronically stressed, your cortisol levels stay elevated, and sustained high cortisol suppresses testosterone production. When testosterone drops, the estrogen to testosterone ratio shifts. The prostate responds to that shift with growth. This is the biological mechanism. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a hormonal reset that your prostate depends on every single night. Practically speaking, this means protecting 7 to 8 hours of sleep as if it is a medical prescription, because for your prostate, it is. It means managing stress not just for your heart or your mood, but for your hormonal environment. Simple practices like limiting screens before bed, keeping your bedroom cool, and establishing a consistent sleep and wake time are not soft suggestions. They are prostate medicine. Quick pause before we continue because I want to address something. Some of you are watching this and feeling a little overwhelmed. Maybe you've been doing several of these things for years. Maybe you're frustrated with yourself. I want to stop that thought right now because frustration helps no one. This is information, not judgment. And everything I've described today is reversible. The fourth habit driving prostate enlargement that almost no one talks about is dietary. Specifically, diets high in refined carbohydrates and sugar. Here's the biology. When you eat high amounts of refined sugar and processed carbohydrates, your insulin spikes repeatedly throughout the day. Chronic high insulin elevates a compound called insulin-like growth factor, or IGF-1. And IGF-1 is a potent stimulator of prostate cell proliferation. Beyond that, high insulin promotes conversion of testosterone into estrogen through a process called aromatization. So a diet built on white bread, pasta, pastries, sugary drinks, and processed snacks is, biologically, a diet that is feeding your prostate's growth. The replacement strategy doesn't require you to become a health fanatic. It requires you to make a few consistent swaps. Replace white bread with whole grain. Replace sugary drinks with water, herbal tea, or sparkling water. Add more cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, because they contain a compound called indole-3-carbinol that actively helps your liver clear excess estrogen. And increase your intake of zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds and shellfish, because zinc is a natural inhibitor of the enzyme that converts testosterone to estrogen. Now let's bring this all together into something you can actually do starting today. Here is your simple action plan. Step 1. Audit your alcohol. If you're drinking daily, even moderately, commit to at least 4 alcohol-free days per week starting this week. Give your liver the space to do its job of clearing estrogen. Step 2. Eliminate plastic from your food and water routine. 1 stainless water bottle, 1 glass container for leftovers. That's all it takes. Step 3. Protect your sleep like a medical obligation. Set a consistent bedtime, cut screens 30 minutes before bed, and keep your room cool. Step 4. Do one dietary swap this week. Just one. Replace your most frequent refined carbohydrate with something whole. That's it. 4 steps. You don't need to do them all perfectly. You need to do them consistently. If you've been frustrated or embarrassed by what's been happening with your body, I want you to hear this directly from me. You are not broken. You are not just getting old. Your body is responding to inputs, hormonal signals, chemical exposures, lifestyle patterns that you were never taught to watch out for. That's not your failure. That's a gap in the information you've been given, and now you have it. Even after 60, your hormonal environment can shift. Your prostate can stabilize. Your sleep can improve. Your confidence can come back. It is never too late to change the signals you're sending your body. If this video helped you, please like it so more men over 50 can find it. Drop a comment below telling me which of these 4 habits you're going to tackle first. I genuinely want to know. Share this with a brother, a friend, a husband, anyone in your life who's been quietly struggling with this. And subscribe for weekly content where I give you real, evidence-based strategies for men's health after 50. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, reminding you that after 50, vitality isn't lost. It's waiting to be awakened. Take care, gentlemen, and I'll see you in the next one.